You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, Dakota Davis.
How's it going, Jer?
Oh my God, it's episode 48 already.
Episode 48, I can't believe it. I feel like we've missed some time here and there.
It feels like we just did episode 46 like 4 days ago.
It really does. I just can't believe it. Time flies whenever you're having fun.
Just like we sped ahead here. Yep. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about the folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and an easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and people we just find interesting.
Correct.
So this is something.
It is.
It's
today
interesting people, exciting people, interesting. What do we got?
We're
done with that part. Throw it.
You threw the script over the table.
Paper toss.
It's kind of funny because like sometimes before we had the limiter, you would throw it down on the table and you could hear it.
Yes.
But now there's not going to be any sound because it hit the carpet.
It's like the like David Letterman when he did his show or whatever, and Dave would take the cue cards and just throw them behind him, and you get the breaking glass.
It's like the end of it's not PTI. It's the one where they do the points on ESPN.
Oh yeah, Loud and Louder with Tony Kornheiser and and Michael. It's really
toss.
not. Yeah, it's really not Michael Will. It's not. Who is it? It's the other black guy.
Around the horn.
Around the horn. Yeah, with Stephen A. Smith.
Hold on.
So we got to introduce some voices.
This is a timeout because we have to introduce the guest. Otherwise, he's going to be sitting here while we talk for another 30 minutes.
We have co-hosts and a guest. Why don't you take that part over, sir?
All right. So today,
I've deputized you.
It is just
handle this part.
It is a person that we find interesting. Sitting in the third chair is a friend of mine from whenever I was in high school. His name is Scott Fleener.
I've been told he wants to be referred to as Scotty, and he's an American hero.
See, that's not what I heard. Yeah, he is a true red-blooded American hero. I think we should make a movie.
We should, probably.
Boss Hog of Liberty's first movie.
Our first feature film.
Starring Scott Fleener as himself.
So, Scott, if you are familiar with the We Are Libertarians world, he immediately elicits James Neese to me. He's got the knit beanie cap. Yep. He's got the polo shirt, or not the polo shirt. It's a flannel, but it's more of a checked flannel. I don't know. It's not the heavy flannel that we wear.
Hey, I'm going to send Scott. I'm going to send you a picture of James Neese on your Facebook Messenger.
Are there real pictures of him?
I do have my phone on me.
There are.
Pull it out.
Yeah. He's probably going to be offended.
I want you to realize how offensive it is that he just said that about you.
He's like our James Neese. The Boss Hog's James Neese. I'm sure that in your history you've never eaten out of a dumpster or taken a vacation to Florida where you've just tried to get tourists to practice being homeless with you for a week or two. So I'm sure your life standards are much higher.
A little bit.
But in all honesty, James is like the most stable of all of the Weird Libertarians cast members. He's got a lady at home and 2 kids and probably a 6-figure job at a public school. So but he does look the part.
Rocking that vest, isn't he? There we go.
Yeah, that's what you're missing. You're missing a vest.
Yeah, we got to get you a vest.
We do.
You don't have any prison tats on your arms, do you?
I have one tattoo on my arm.
Did you do it yourself? Because James did his own himself.
I did not.
Not homemade.
You know the band, the Black Flags?
Yeah.
So he has the Black Flags tattooed on his hand.
Oh, that's
ultimate. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I think, did he do that one himself? I'm not really sure.
I think he did most all of his stuff himself.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so anyway, and that's enough about James. Scott, glad you're here, first of all. You recently moved to back to East Central Indiana.
Yes.
So are you always from this part of the world? Or you
no, I was originally from Martinsville.
Oh, my gosh, you're a Bucktowner.
I am.
So 3 weeks ago with Steve Horowitz interview, we had Aaron Ewert on the show, and he's a He's a Martinsville guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then my bride-to-be, she's from Mooresville. So she's, Morgan County,
in that
the
general
northern
area.
part. Yeah. Almost can be. She's, pretty high class for Morgan County people, but...
Can be.
Can be. Yes,
Scott,
they have the Meyer.
We know Canby pretty well, don't we?
We do, yeah.
That's actually how we met.
Yeah, we
it was at church camp.
We did, yeah.
Nazarene church camp, yeah.
Back, 5 years ago almost?
I think so, yeah. You would never know that. You would never know.
Chase. Why does he print the show notes if he's just going to skip ahead? Why does he do this to us?
Man. Just
it's a false start, 5-yard penalty. What's
he's
that
like
mean?
Rambo. He just goes off
He
on
just
his own.
goes.
I do. I have to.
We have to read it into the record.
You haven't introduced me yet.
Yeah, we got Chase over here.
Chase
Peyton.
Chase needs no introduction. Chase is a man on his own, and he's doing good. The camera is zoomed in on him, so everybody can see his beautiful face. All right.
So
now that Chase has been introduced,
2 weeks
I
in
just
now.
want to make a point that I will be keeping close eye on the scores going on right now for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, so this episode, if you're watching on the YouTube or as we're recording, it is Tuesday, March 13th. The NCAA tournament has begun. The field of 68 is complete, and Chase will be watching the scores and reporting live. Even though you're listening to a delayed podcast and you already know the scores, you can track along with Chase.
you got that really good.
So 2 weeks ago, as we record this,
Yep.
the state of Indiana, we've had 2 Sundays now.
We did a
2
great
Sundays with liquor sales.
We did a great thing to the step towards freedom. If you've been listening to the show for a while, then you've heard every single candidate that's come through these doors. We have asked them, what do you think about Sunday sales? And I think that every single one of them has said that they agree with it. Melanie Wright was a little bit cautious because of the impact that it would have on smaller liquor stores.
On some small businesses.
Yeah.
But I think she said that it was going to happen, and by God,
it did.
2 Sundays ago, everybody was able to go in and buy liquor, and the town didn't burn down. We didn't have people going to hell immediately.
That was close.
Yeah, people didn't.
Does anybody know how many drunk drivers there were? That's what my concern was.
Rex Bell said there's no excuse for people to show up at work on Monday
There
sober
are at
now.
least 59 drunk drivers.
59?
And you have a list of all the fatalities, everybody
Yes.
that died because we had Sunday sales those first 2 Sundays?
3?
George, Luann, and May. Yep.
They didn't have last names. They were all like Cher.
They're related.
It was the same crash. It was kind of like
a sad family of Baptists that couldn't handle their
it was kind of like in Billy Madison whenever the family is
Doyle rules.
Yeah. A Doyle rules. A Doyle rules. I feel like your whole family is going to be going down.
22 years old, I'm shocked Dakota even knows what that movie is.
That is my that and Happy Gilmore are my 2 all-time favorite movies.
So Happy Gilmore is 22 years old right now. It came out in the year of your birth.
Really?
In the year of our Lord.
Wow.
1995.
Scott Fleener and Dakota Davis were infants.
My favorite part about that movie is when he gets in a fight with Hugh Hefner.
Not Hugh Hefner.
No, not Hugh Hefner. Bob Barker.
It was Bob Barker.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Price is wrong, Bob.
I bet that really gets a lot of hits on Let's Make a Deal. It's The Price is Right. I love that movie. Gosh, man, I could just quote the movie. Let's just start from the beginning.
Let's get Scott's hierarchy of the hosts of The Price is Right.
Oh,
Is it Bob Barker or Drew Carey?
Bob Barker.
Really?
That's not even a contest.
Hugh Hefner.
We're the Libertarians. I feel like somebody has to take a stand for Drew Carey, who is one of my comedy idols, by the way.
You know, he's a good bit.
Before or after he lost weight?
Oh, my God. Fat Drew is funny.
Definitely
Drew.
before.
Yeah. Dakota's got his Drew Carey glasses on now, by the way.
I do.
If we shaved his head and put him in the Marine Corps for a couple of years, it'd be funny and have some jokes.
It would be. That's what we should do, Jer.
Have you enlist for content?
No, both of us. Like,
I'm almost too old.
going through.
I could be an officer, though.
You
I
guys
got
should
a
just-
bachelor's degree.
Oh,
I could be an officer.
okay, go to OCS.
I'm down. I'm gonna be an attorney for the Marine Corps.
Be
An
a jag.
attorney?
Be a jag. Yeah. Be a badass.
You don't even. You have nothing though.
I
You
have
don't
a
have any
working knowledge of the
credentials.
law.
You guys should just do that little boot camp thing. I see a sign for it going down the road. Fierce.
The women's boot camp.
I think that's for Pilates class, Chase.
Oh, close enough.
So
I think that actually, one of our co-hosts, Cade Koger,
yes,
his wife,
Jade Koger.
did the women's fierce boot camp.
Really?
Said it was great.
Is she
Loved it.
militant? Did they
That's
have like
how-
a G.I.
that's
Jane
her,
scene where they shave her head?
I don't think so, but I know that's how her and my mother-in-law Monica met.
Your mother-in-law went to boot camp?
Yes, they both did. They went together. But now they have come together and formed a kind of like a commune where they all pitch in and they buy gym equipment, and they have taken over one of Cade's garages and turned it into a gym.
Good for him.
Yep.
All right. So we got beer on Sundays.
We did.
So far, halfway through March, nobody's died.
Nope.
From that.
3 people.
In Cade's account with no last names, the whole O'Doyle family, the O'Douls family has passed away.
In Cade's account? When did Cade get here?
Jade, Cade, Chase. I've done that
Breaking
twice.
news, I'm not a farmer.
Neither is Cade. So yeah, Cade's not a farmer, and you got a bad heart, we've learned. So. All right. So, Dakota, I've noticed your truck the last couple weeks has gotten much darker.
Yeah, have you noticed that? Did you go out and look at it before you came in? I really wanted you to see it. I don't know if you noticed it before we shot with Caitlin Kopteski and Jess Hooker.
I did. I'm very impressed. On one side. One side looks kind of shitty.
You think so?
Yeah, the passenger side needs a little work.
No, it looks pretty good. I started on the passenger side. It was I felt like I told people that I felt like I was in the black and white portion of an infomercial where it's like, has this ever been you?
You're the most incompetent person ever who can't open a jar or everything falls out of the cabinet on you.
That was my difficulty. So I went out and I bought the window tint and I bought the kit.
The window tint. It's different than a tint, Scott.
Yes. And I bought them at O'Reilly Auto Parts, which, by the way, the cashier recognized me and said, "Hey, are you the guy that does the Boss Hog of Liberty show?" Yes, I am.
Hello to the guy at O'Reilly's.
Yes. It was a ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at that, women viewers. High five.
We did. Yep.
All right.
Not so sexist anymore, are we?
No.
We're still in there.
Yeah. Especially, I'm going to be honest. Since we had Jess and Caitlin on last week, our lady viewers have gone way up.
That's got to be it.
We balanced it out, and
how
that
are
has
the
really
drinks?
helped. Oh my God!
No, so good.
Listen, I do like my typical. If you watch the high quality YouTube video, I really enjoy my my vodka soda. Always.
What was your favorite?
Oh man, the whiskey sour that I told Caitlin ahead of time. Man, you got to make me a whiskey sour. I'm a big whiskey sour guy. Thank God she followed through on that.
Now, see, I wasn't that impressed with the gin and tonic.
Well, their show, of course, when you go back and listen to it, you'll know. But Blonde and Brunette, they mix these cocktails, and you've got to push them a little bit. You got to let them do the fancy stuff. You insisting on the basic. I know you're 22 and you're just learning how to drink, but the gin and tonic, that's a very basic little drink. You've got to let them be professionals.
I'm more of a pretty shooty guy myself.
Yeah. If it doesn't have an umbrella, don't bring it to Chase.
See, I like the bitters. I like things that are bitter on my tongue.
Yeah. You know, once you start drinking some more, you'll go more towards the fruity kind. It's easier to put down.
Yeah.
Like the mangria.
You get white girl wasted in no time at all.
Hey, listen, I was in the Army. I know how to drink.
Yeah, so I ended up going back. I tinted the windows. I came back here and not like it's so windy outside. I'm trying to spray the soapy water all over the window like the instructions says.
Does it have to be hot soapy water?
No, just regular soapy water. It just room temperature.
Okay.
Ideally, you don't want it to be 32 degrees because then it would be ice.
It'd be solid water.
Yep.
That'll break your window when you put it on.
No, it wouldn't.
Hit it hard.
But I put it on the window, and as I'm trying to cut it, the wind is blowing all of the extra because what they do is they put in this roll. They make it
I have a
enough to
garage and we're friends. I would let you use my garage and it would be 40 degrees and you wouldn't have a wind.
Well, see, I was just doing it out on the street because I figured how hard can it be? And what they do is they put in one roll, they make enough to put 2 windows. So I have this entire extra like 3 feet that's blowing in the wind while I'm trying to cut it with an X-Acto knife. It was a horrendous experience. I finally got it all cut though, and I got it taken apart like you should, and then I transfer it onto the inside, and I'm squeegeeing out all of the soap, all of the soapy water and things, and because that's how you get it to stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm following.
So I'm squeegeeing out all the water, and then I finally get to the point to where I'm ready to roll down the window and test it.
Oh.
Okay. So I've gotten all of the bubbles out, and for anybody that's tinted windows before, it takes forever. Like, it takes forever to get all that soapy water out and make sure that it's stuck. So I finally get to the point where I'm ready to test it. I roll the window down, and it just goes... And And it literally, it was like a wedge, because I had forgot to tuck it down into the gasket that is at the bottom of the window. So as it just drove up, it was just, it was like, whoosh. And I was, at that point, I was so mad. So I just ripped it off of the window. I crumpled it up and I threw it into the trash toter. And the next day, I decided
that was it? That was the end of that day?
Oh, that was the end of that day.
You were pissed enough to be done.
Well, it was starting to get dark, okay? Like, I started this venture at like 4 o'clock, and then it started to get dark. So I was done. I was very upset. So the next day I go to a garage where there's no wind at the place that I work.
Yes.
And I have better tools, better equipment. And I got both of them tinted. And they look nice. They look professionally done. They look good.
The backs were already done, so you just had to do the front. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I feel your pain. I put on like 3 different stickers on the back of my truck. It took me like 5 minutes. And there were bubbles and everything.
Stickers are the worst because trying to get them square, trying to get them straight.
Yeah.
I saw that you got the Boss Hog sticker on the Dodge now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
On the paint. You invested heavily. I need to put it on the Tahoe, but I'm going to put it on the glass. I'm not going.
I'm thinking about getting it on the like a decal that goes across the entire back windshield.
So our friend Christy Avery, during the Gary Johnson campaign, his campaign, Gary's campaign had the full glass sticker. Mm-hmm. Paid like $100. They had the design, and they would fill your entire glass. It would be transparent for you, but it would be his. It was like a whiteout logo thing. Mm-hmm. We could do those. We could have them designed.
See, that's what I was
get Martin
thinking.
to put them on our vehicles.
That would be really cool. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Pictures of us.
So now that you have tinted windows, you can drive naked. And get away with it.
The windshield is still not tinted. Oh. Is it illegal to tint your windshield in Indiana?
Probably.
I don't know. Matt Pierce will tell us.
Oh, just Google it. Nope, you're good to go.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool.
No problem.
Well, see, because it is weird driving now with the back window is tinted, the 2 rear side windows are tinted, and then the front 2 side windows are tinted, and then you just have 0% on the windshield, and you feel like everything else is enclosed, but you're fully exposed in the front. It's a strange feeling.
Oh, we got sports desk over there with Chase.
I just got our first score alert. Radford beat Michigan. 78-69.
My God.
Oh, what an upset. Holy moly.
Man, so that gives Michigan, that was going to give Michigan the 5 seed, but now they don't have it. They got beat
on a buzzer beater.
Man.
A buzzer beater.
9-point game with a buzzer beater.
Yes.
Well, I don't doubt you.
I'm really glad we got to hear that live.
Man. And we're waiting on the final in the Grand Rapids State, Wichita State game. You've got 2 minutes left in that one. We'll check in a minute.
All right.
Close. Score 69-69.
That's enough about my tinting experience. We need to move on to the Scott Fleener spotlight.
Hello.
Yes. So, the Boss Hog of Liberty, James Neese.
So you all went to church camp without me, huh?
We did, yeah.
Yes, I was probably at my day job.
You could have been a counselor.
I could have been. I could have been
so
making you run laps.
Yeah. That camp was pretty good.
I thought
it wasn't awful.
It wasn't bad.
Okay, I know Chase is a devout Christian. Yes, yes, Father. Dakota is nearly an atheist at this point. You're an
I am not.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
You're somewhere in between.
I'm a heathen.
Yeah.
Call me an atheist. I go to a Quaker church, Jeremiah.
How often?
Like every other week.
From time to time, more often than I do. I go to your church for weddings and funerals.
See,
about once a year.
I got you beat.
I haven't been there yet this year, but nobody's died, so I'm even.
Look who's going to heaven.
Well, I don't think they go to the Spiceland Friends Town
That's
Church.
not what I heard. They were on the prayer list.
That's true.
All right.
I can vouch for that.
So you're moderately spiritual.
I'm agnostic.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. What kind of denomination was this church camp y'all went to?
It was Nazarene.
Nazarene.
Yeah. You would never know by the drinking that we're doing right now, but it was Nazarene.
Sorry.
Nazarenes are not okay with the alcohol or the tobacco.
Weird.
Yeah. Oddly enough, they were the ones that used to have the big beehive hair,
right?
Beehive hairdos, and that kind of got phased out. So I'm sure that in the next 10 years they're going to allow drinking. That would just be my guess.
They also wear pants.
Will the Nazarenes allow drinking before the state of Indiana allows medical weed?
I'm going to have to go yes.
Yeah,
a hard yes on that one.
I'm saying yes.
Yep.
We're going to have Chase create that Twitter account that we've talked about all these years for the Boss Hog of Liberty page.
Yep.
And we can hold Twitter polls, and we may have to have that as our first poll.
That would be good.
Chase, can you get that done for us in the next couple days? So by March 15th, we'll have our Twitter account.
It's all set up.
All right. By March 15th, that's all we need.
So we were talking downstairs.
So vote this week. Nazarenes drinking versus Indiana medical marijuana.
Yes. We need to know the results, but I'm going to say yes.
I have to go with Nazarene too, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go medical marijuana.
Really?
Yeah, I think we'll have medical marijuana within 6 or 7 years. I don't think it's far off.
We can barely pass CBD oil without...
Well, that's, you know...
We talked
about
that a little bit last week. Let's not revisit the topic.
I saw some of the people at the church, and they look pretty thirsty. So
that's true.
You got to take that into account.
Now that we have Sunday sales in Indiana, when you do communion, they make you use real wine now. Or harder.
That's the truth.
It's in the law.
I think it should have been. I think it should have been state law that the only place you can buy your alcohol on Sundays is at church. That would make perfect sense.
It would give them a revenue stream.
Oh, great!
Of course, it would be tax exempt unless Tom Saunders has a choice in it, and then he would tax it.
Oh, that was dirty. That was a whoa.
Well, we love Tom. He's fun, but he does want to do the same thing. Israel's actually trying to do the same thing. I don't know if you saw this or not, but Israel wants to do the same thing Tom does, where the churches own these shopping malls and other things, and he's like, we're not giving you tax-free whatevers. So if they're going to change that law in Jerusalem, Monrovia might not be a bad place to make the adjustment either. That's a West Side.
Speaking of Israel, Scott, you served in the Army.
I did, yes.
Yeah, for about 3 years, right?
He's skipping ahead again.
Yeah, well,
you don't want to talk about that?
Pretty much covered.
We said Chase was douchey. That was written right in here. You thought Chase was douchey.
I was pretty douchey.
I want you to answer for what Dakota said about you.
I was pretty douchey, okay?
I always thought that Chase was pretty douchey.
My favorite
in high
TV
school.
shows during that time were Jersey Shore, The Challenge, Teen Mom, and literally anything on Fox News. So that tells you
anything on Fox News.
I
and The
was
Office.
a religious watcher of Fox News.
Big fan of Steve Ducey and Brian Kilmeade, E.D. Donahue. Are they your people? What was your Fox News show?
That was a little bit before our time, Jer.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are.
Really? They're still on in the mornings.
Like the O'Reilly Factory because I like...
Oh, see, you just didn't get up early enough.
Factor, because I like to argue with him.
The O'Reilly Factory.
Yes. Sorry, I got that mixed up with the Fantasy Factory, which I also watched during that time.
Now, see, I did like Fantasy Factory.
He was a cool dude.
Oh, yeah.
Hannity and Combs.
I liked Hannity.
The late Alan Combs. He's dead now.
I liked...
no longer signing.
I think it was Red Eye. I don't remember.
I couldn't help you.
It was a late night show. It was on at 1 o'clock.
He had a permanent case of pink eye.
It was with Greg Gutfeld.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, he was
I'm
funny.
familiar with him.
I liked him.
I think he hosts The Five now on Fox News Channel.
Most of those people got kicked off.
I don't watch Fox. Ugh.
I watch Special Report with Brett Baer. That's about the only Fox show I'll have.
I like to watch Sean Hannity because I think he's like a mainstream media version of Alex Jones. So it's
slowly going crazy.
And he's gonna start. We're gonna start seeing songs made out of things that Sean Hannity says.
All right, I picked you on you enough for skipping ahead.
Yep.
You want to get back to Mr. Fleener?
Yeah.
Are you any relation to Kobe Fleener, the NFL?
Unfortunately, no.
No. Were you a fan? Did you buy a jersey?
I didn't.
You still don't have
one?
one?
I'm not actually a Colts fan.
You're not a Colts fan?
I'm not.
He's a Saint now.
Oh, really?
He is. Chase will tell you all about him.
Yes. He plays for the Saints. He used to be a tight end for the Colts. He sucked.
Huh. Interesting. Whenever I played
Great
football...
job, Chase.
Yeah.
Whenever I played football in high school, I was a tight end. Because I could kind of run...
Are you a wide receiver now?
No, well, what it was is that I was kind of chubby, but I could still run a little bit. So it was kind of...
You could block, but then in an emergency you could catch something?
Yeah, correct. That was, a perfect storm.
So you spent some time in the Army, son?
I did 3 years.
I'm sorry.
Not having the camera on makes us feel like it was in the old days. You know what I mean? Where we're just sitting at your kitchen table.
We do have the camera on.
Well, not streaming.
We're not streaming. No, we're trying something different.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You don't have my mother and mother-in-law commenting immediately telling you, Jeremiah, you can't say that.
It's true.
Plus, you guys are all like 15 years younger than me at this point, so I'm just having fun with it.
Calling him son.
Yeah. So, the Army.
Yes.
He's more of a man than I am. He went to boot camp, okay? I didn't do that.
How is boot camp?
You went to
Really
Pierce.
isn't that bad.
Really?
That's because you were in the Army. And it goes like...
That was a low job.
Hierarchy of the branches here. I'm assuming that the chair force is like down here.
Yeah, it's pretty down there.
And then you say like Army or Navy, somewhere in between. Because you're in the Army, you have to say...
if I'm being real, in difficulty with basic, it's probably...
Chair force?
Chair force, Navy, Army,
Marines up here, yeah.
I bet they let you...
My father's a Marine, so
really?
I've been told.
It is more difficult.
Yeah.
I bet that
you want to kill yourself, as I understand.
Oh my, that's
it's rough.
Jurassic.
You don't make it.
I bet that they let you do drugs and alcohol in the chair forces.
Probably.
I got that from a veteran, by the way, Scott Stansbury. I worked with him for a number of years.
I don't like calling it the chair force because I have a lot of friends that are in the Air Force.
I don't mind.
It feels insulting.
Well...
For all the teenage listeners out there, we have millions. Is it anything like Call of Duty?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
No, you kept posting it. So you were stationed in South Korea.
I was, yes.
How long before that you were at Fort Bliss?
No, it was Fort Bliss last, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you were stationed in South Korea, and I kept seeing pictures of you that you kept posting on there.
Yeah.
And you kept posting a picture with an old Korean lady and calling her your Korean grandma.
Her name was Suji. So, and I was in USAG Humphreys, which is Central Korea, I guess.
Okay. So you weren't guarding the border?
No, I was not.
Okay. Well, that's good.
And then, whenever you left the gate,
my grandfather was a sergeant in the Army, by the way, during the Korean War. So you basically just replaced him. He's, we've been out for 60 years, and you replaced Sergeant Morrell,
Lieutenant Dan.
And if you went out in the Ville a little bit, you would eventually reach a place called Suji's, and the person her name was Suji, and she was probably the nicest woman I ever met.
That's awesome. I know whenever you had to leave there, you posted a picture with her, and you were like, "Gonna miss my Korean grandma."
I still miss her. I'd go back just to see her.
That's awesome.
And the cool thing about her is she actually remembered names of everybody who went in there. So she called me. I tried telling her my first name, which is Jeffrey. I go by my middle name, Scott. She could never learn that, so she would call me Scoot. She would be Scoot.
Scoot.
There you go.
That's awesome. What was the Korean cuisine like? I don't think
it was great. American food is a little more beefier.
Yeah.
And Korea, it's very lean, and they give you just enough to fill you up, and it's delicious.
I'd have to have like 4 meals in Korea.
Did you ever eat anything like really, really weird?
So, just to give you a few names of Korean dishes, bulgogi is pretty much the main beef there.
Uh-huh.
Then you have gulgogi, which is a different type of meat. I forget which part of the cow it is.
Probably the testicle.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Dog is a gulgogi.
Oh, so you don't want to stutter.
I feel like there's been times where I was in a part of Korea where there wasn't as many English speakers. I feel like I may have ordered dog a few times. If I'm being completely honest, I'll put myself on that cross.
Well, I've had missionary friends before who have eaten dog, and they say it's delicious.
Really?
I've heard, yes.
Oh my gosh, that's really weird.
I've never had it.
It's big in Indonesia.
It's not that bad.
They would cube it up. It's real fatty, I heard.
The more up north you go, the closer you get to the DMZ, they actually have farms for dogs that they use for meat production.
Are we talking like German Shepherds or Australian Shepherds?
No, I never got that close.
What's the best production?
Chihuahuas.
That's something you can look up.
You're not a real farmer.
If you tried to eat a Chihuahua, it would just be like a chicken leg.
Basically, it'd be like trying to eat a bluegill. Yeah, you gotta get a lot of cheeks.
You really gotta work for it
to get the meat.
Kind of like a squirrel.
Yeah,
I mean Chihuahua pretty much is a squirrel already. Just a little yappy rodent. It's not a real dog if it can be beaten up by a cat.
What was your role? What did you do over there?
I was in the military police corps.
Oh,
I was an MP.
You were nobody wanted to see you.
Nobody wanted to see me.
Very few friends.
Dakota, earlier we were talking, he talked about one of his friends who's in Fort Bliss. He's like, did you know him? I'm like, I hope not.
Yeah. He's infantry. You asked what branch he's in, and I said he's in infantry, and you said, yeah, we used to run into those guys a lot.
All the time.
So, it being an MP, you'd go out drinking with these guys, and then at the end of the day, you'd be like, all right, well, you're all arrested.
Not exactly. Korea, I have stories about Korea I can tell you guys later, but there was curfew.
The camera's on now. Let's go.
Okay. I can do one story if you guys are okay with that. I'm going to speak vaguely. So in Camp Humphreys, you have a cab line. And curfew is from, I think, 100, so 1 a.m. to about 5 a.m.
Right, that's 0500.
0500, yes.
Yes, all right.
Thank you.
I'm helping.
So during the weekends, we would monitor the cab line because no one could drive on post and everybody was drunk. Most of the time, it would be okay. Most of the time, people would just get in the cabs and go.
Out. So you guys are busting the people that are trying to be responsible.
No.
That are waiting in line.
We're there for a reason. Because fights break out. It's a lot of people in the same place. It's a recipe for a fight. And I remember this one time, this specific guy, I just remember. And it started off, people were yelling at each other. We shut it down. Not a big deal. About 30 minutes later, it's this guy with a light blue shirt. I don't remember what his name was or what he looks like. I just remember he had a light blue shirt.
Okay.
Let's call him... Oh, let's pick a name. Let's call him
Jerry.
Tad Western.
Nah, Jerry. I like Jerry.
I'm going to say Jerry. That's easier.
All right.
So Jerry was...
Jerry Western.
Jerry started yelling again, so I went back and he was poking at this guy in the chest. I'm like, I break it up. And he looked at me and he was like, you know what? I'm going to take this from a PV2. I was a private back then, and he poked me in the chest. And at first I was like, I'm not doing this right now. I'm not in the mood. And he's like, I'm a captain. I'm like, okay, well, calm down. And things start escalating from there, and eventually there's like 10 MPs around him. There's a canine barking at him. And this guy wants to fight everybody. He was like, I'll mess you. I'm censoring right now. He's like, I'll mess you up. I'll fight all of you. Eventually, we drag him off. He actually pees his pants on the way over to our trucks, and we're like, the guy, it was a staff sergeant. I can't remember his name. He's like, I'm going to cut you a deal. I'm just going to take you back to your barracks, and you can tell your first sergeant what you did. So he takes him back. I get back on the road. It's probably like 3 hours later. I'm just chilling because it's curfew, so nothing's happening. And we get a call on the radio, and they're like, there's an assault in progress. Not my area, so I was like, oh, whatever. That's fine.
Sucks to be you.
I don't think anything of it. End of shift, I go back to the MP station, and I look in. I'm walking, and there's the interview rooms to the side, and I look in, and it's the same guy. I'm like, oh, no. So I walk back there, and the desk sergeant's like, hey, yeah, you got to do paperwork. I'm like, I know. So I'm typing the paperwork, and he's talking to me. He's like, so I was talking to this guy, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you know what? I want to know what he said? And this guy apparently was like, you know what? I'm going to mess you up. I know a lot of stuff. I'm a captain in a League of Assassins. And I'll fight all of you. So that guy always stuck. We made fun of that guy ruthlessly for like 3 solid weeks.
That's great. You said that he's a captain in the League of Assassins, and my mind immediately went to the Green Arrow.
He wound up just being a private. He got slammed for a lot of stuff. I can't remember. I can't say all what it was, but
so he was just a private pretending to be a captain.
Yeah, in the League of Assassins.
In the League of Assassins.
Yeah. So
that's it. Oh,
Chase, do you have any scores?
Love
that. Breaking news: Duke just lost
in the play-in game.
Yeah,
what an upset!
First game to North Dakota State, 83-69 on a buzzer beater. The whole crowd was going crazy.
Boy, they are crying.
Grayson Allen is crying like a little baby.
Crying in North Carolina.
I think Coach K just had a heart attack. Oh, no!
North Dakota.
North Dakota State.
So, Scott, what was the North Korean culture like?
You know, I've been fairly close to the DMZ. I was probably like a stone's throw away a few times. I never really interacted with them very much. I remember one pretty interesting moment. I was in the field training, and I was sitting there not really doing anything. And I don't know if you guys remember this back in, was it 2016? It was 2015, I think.
I remember way back then. Yes.
The South Koreans, North Korea launched a missile into the sea, and then South Korea retaliated by playing K-pop on the loudspeakers.
Oh yeah.
So I was sitting there. And my battalion commander was right next to me, and I was playing Op 4, which is, for people who don't know what that is, that's the bad guys in the field. And he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, I'm listening to it. I'm like, "Sir, I think that's K-pop." And he's like, "Why are they playing K-pop? Why can't we hear that?" I'm like, "I don't know."
What is K-pop?
It's South Korean pop. It's you'll have to check it out sometime. It's just the main music over there.
Right. So we're talking like,
dude, it's crazy.
It's insane. You have to watch it on your own.
Okay, bring me the aux cord, Jeremiah.
All right, we'll riff while you do this.
Anyway,
I'm assuming that it's somewhere between William Hung and something worse.
You'll have to check it out. It's something I can't
Is it
even
like
describe.
that one song,
We'll have something to say.
Open Gangnam Style?
Yeah, King of Style, yeah.
Close, but not quite.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing like K-pop. It's
You have to watch it for yourself. It is a treat.
Well, luckily, Dakota
But
has
I'm
the
gonna
technology
finish
here.
the story real quick.
Please continue.
And I'm checking my phone because right now we're in between lanes, and I'm like, sir? He's like, yeah. I'm like, North Korea just fired a missile into the sea. South Korea's retaliating. He's like, I gotta go. I'm like, yeah, Roger.
That is a roller coaster of a story. I can't even believe that you were in South. I'd never even made that connection that you were in South Korea.
Crazy.
Whenever
and then
they did that.
I wasn't there, but earlier on in the year, North Korea and South Korea exchanged artillery fire, and I knew some people who were actually under the artillery fire when it happened. So South Korea gets crazy. I was telling you earlier that South Korea is very militarized. You can't. Civilian population hates the military.
Yeah.
They're very distrusting of the military. There's a mandated
any
service.
military or your military? Our military.
Military in general.
They don't even like their own.
No, they're not fond of it. They hate us, and they're not fond of their own.
So, spinning the hits over here. We got Dakota Davis, and this is going to be...
Well,
You going to give us this one?
DJ Cody.
Yep. I'm gonna give
This
you
is going to
one.
be...
This is number 9 in the
Ring
top 10.
Ding Dong from 2009 of the top 100, or top 10 pop
There we
songs.
go.
K-Cup.
You have to watch it, though. It's part of it.
K-Cups. It's K-Cups by Keurig.
There we go.
Shiny. All it takes is a few seconds of this boy band to get your body moving.
This is...
Written by producer
It looks like...
extraordinaire Yoo Yun Jin, Ring Ding Dong focuses on the familiar concept of good girls and bad boys.
The lead singer looks exactly...
Imagery of butterflies in both the song and video. Shiny will find their way right
should,
into your heart.
The lead singer
Lyrics
of this
convey a
song
man
looks
dedicated to win a
just
woman's
exactly
heart.
like Rufio from Hook.
You
Dante Bosco.
guys should make a Boss of Hogs K-pop song.
Oh, we really should.
It's kind of like NSYNC.
I'm 99% sure that K-pop is all about the music video.
It is. It's very visual. So your listeners need to actually look up K-pop and watch it because it's very visual.
We have so many unknowns, incomplete projects for the Boss Hog side that we're working on, talking about, and in the hopper. Let's add a music video to that list.
We've already got the movie of Scott Fleener, American Hero, starring Scott Fleener as himself.
Yes.
But and now we're going to add a K-pop song.
And we're going to add a K-pop song.
All right, I like that.
Let's talk about movies, Scott.
Okay.
As the Army veteran of the room.
Yeah.
All these Army movies, what's the most accurate?
You know, I need to say that I've never been to combat, so I can't say 100%.
Yeah, but not
what's it
necessarily
like.
combat, just the Army life. Right?
No. You don't even say that,
piss
Scott.
himself.
Yeah, don't even say that, Scott. I'm talking American MP.
American MP. Single-handedly stopped ISIS.
Yeah, he's got the longest recorded stopping a drunk man on base in history.
Longest.
I mean, Good Morning Vietnam was an
my
MP
favorite
movie, right?
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah.
It was
Hell
actually.
yeah.
It was
I know my
it was
shit,
MP.
Scott.
It was MP, and then Robin Williams played as
He's the DJ.
As a DJ, so he played for more of the civil affairs people.
He was like Dakota over here.
My
spinning
favorite
the hits.
My favorite movie has to be We Were Soldiers.
Yep, I love that movie.
By far the best movie I ever watched.
Did you ever watch that movie?
I haven't seen that one.
Good soundtrack too.
In terms of like, and then there's Band of Brothers. That too, you know.
Right.
That's an HBO series, so that's not really a movie, but in terms of like,
Band
you
of
can
Brothers
watch it. They'll use actual movements that the Army uses in training.
Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, especially, and then a few parts in We Were Soldiers, but that part gets pretty broken up. Here's what happened.
So, Band of Brothers was World War II, right?
Yes.
And then We Were Soldiers was Vietnam.
Yeah.
Early Vietnam War.
It was very
for the
early
Marine
on
Corps.
because they weren't. It was the Army, but they weren't.
It was the Army. Okay.
They weren't prepared for the
And that was
that many soldiers.
It was a helicopter movie. So, like, basically the entire they come in, land on a battlefield, and they expect to take on
Black
just
Hawk Down.
No, that was in Africa. That was Somalia? Is that Black Hawk Down Somalia?
Deer hunter.
But they land, and it's just wave after wave after wave of American helicopters landing on the battlefield. And I think they wound up winning the battle, but they do
at the end. I
Spoiler
haven't watched
alert.
the movie. Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah, it's been out for like 15
it.
years. But they've got all of these tunnels, and the Americans didn't know to expect it at all.
That was actually the first time they used helicopters. That's the first time the cavalry used helicopters.
That's right.
It was Vietnam.
It was
that
the
was a new
American
thing. They
cavalry.
actually, in the beginning part of the movie, they actually talked about how they're using it the first time. But
I think Greg Kinnear, is he a helicopter pilot in that movie?
I think so.
Yeah.
The interaction between the soldiers are pretty accurate though. Like you'll have the I can't remember names, but there's a part where there's especially in the early part of the movie, there's a sergeant who's walking down the way, and there's a command sergeant major who's also walking, and the soldier will be like, "Oh, good morning, Sergeant Major," and the sergeant major is like, "How do you know what kind of day it is?"
So the sergeant major was Sam Elliott, wasn't he? Isn't it Sam Elliott, the cowboy? Do you ever watch? Man, I got all the movies in my head, and I don't have the names. Chase. The Big Lebowski.
I haven't watched that.
Oh my god! You know the Big Lebowski, Chase?
I think so.
You've got the dude and all that, but then you've got the guy. No, not the dude. This is the guy that's telling the story. Sam Elliott.
Okay.
And he's the guy at the bowling alley at the counter.
I just watched that movie for the first time like 6 months ago.
Yeah, this is the guy that's telling the story. Anyway, Sam Elliott. We're all going to Google Sam Elliott if you're looking at home, and we're going to be like, oh yes, that's the guy. Normally, Sam Elliott has a mustache, and We Were Soldiers. He didn't. That's Sam Elliott. Like, yep, that's
it might be him. It's been a while it's been a few years since I watched the movie, but the interactions between the soldiers and Band of Brothers and We Were Soldiers are pretty spot on.
All right, enough of the movie reviews.
Scott, whenever we were in high school, oh man, I hiccuped. Whenever we were in high school, we were both not very political. At least we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I wasn't really political.
But as we progressed, and I didn't talk to you for 4 years, but we remained friends on Facebook, and I kept seeing you during the 2016 election cycle. Kept posting like Gary Johnson memes, Libertarian memes, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what are the chances? So what is like that? Tell me how you became a libertarian, and if the military influenced that at all.
Well, yeah, I did. I was originally very, very conservative. I was very religious. I broke away from that. I joined the Army, and I started thinking, like, you know what? If something doesn't affect me, why do I care? And I started paying attention to the GOP, and I was like, why does it matter that these people do that? That's not affecting anybody. And then on the Democratic side, I'm like, that law is not going to work because I shouldn't have to pay for this and that. And then
I don't want to pay for your failed attempt at governing.
And then, especially during the 26th election, everyone was like, you guys got to choose between the lesser of two evils. I'm like, no, you don't. There's other choices. So I started researching the other choices, and that's when I discovered Gary Johnson. And then I had known about the Libertarian Party, but that's when I actually that's when I converted to the dark side.
So let me ask this question. being I assume, when did you get discharged?
Actually, just in January.
Okay. So at election time, you were in the United States Army.
Yes.
And Gary Johnson was applying for the job of being your commander-in-chief.
Yes.
When he said, what is Aleppo? Did you go, no big deal? Or did you go, holy hell, this is terrible?
No big deal. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Like, people ask, like, people are like, well, let's ask people. I have a cousin in the Army. He says he's doing all this training. We might be going to war. Like, when I was in the Army, I didn't even know what time I was getting off that day. So people in the Army, we don't have an inside source. We don't know what's going on.
Not really worried about it, yeah.
We worry about what we need to worry about. Like, I pay attention to the Syria conflict, but I don't know each and every single thing. And the fact that Gary Johnson didn't know, one city.
The National Guard here actually does convoys where they go down to North Vernon in Indiana, and they're always stopping at the Flying J here in Henry County. And I love seeing like the different posts from people that are like, oh, why is all the military? Why are they driving their Humvees on the interstate?
Yeah,
it's freaked me out a couple times. I'm always thinking, oh no, we got invaded. So run for the hills.
It should be noted that the interstates were built for transporting our military first. Everything else is a side.
We're just there, yeah.
But
unless if you're late for work.
And
Gotta go.
and now they impede us. Like I getting stuck behind the convoys, and that because those Humvees, like, they're built to climb, right?
Yeah.
So they don't
especially
go
on
that
an
fast.
interstate. You know, the fastest.
You're doing about 60 or 64, probably.
If you go, like, if you start going anywhere above like 40, it feels like the Challenger is about to explode. Like, I was the driver my entire time in the Army, and like the right speed is. I don't even know what the right speed is. Like, the right speed's like 25. You'd put every time you go 40, you'd be going 45. You'd be going 50, and whenever you'd be hitting 50, you're like, I don't want to go any faster. It's like it's shaking like this.
You driving a Humvee or a Jeep, or what was?
I drove a Humvee.
Yeah,
yeah,
a big Humvee, not the H3. You were driving the big, made in Northern Indiana H1s.
Yeah,
yeah.
Are the ones that have the big antennas that they have to strap down while they're going down the interstate.
It was like four individual seats. Yeah.
What was the coolest thing you ever got to ride in?
There's coolest is an interesting word. There's a thing called an ASV that the MP Corps uses a lot. It's the Armored Security Vehicle, ASV. Terrible vehicle. I hate it. Like, it's impossible to take care of.
As an MP, did you have like red and blue lights on your Humvee?
We did not. We had our own patrol
We're
cars
going
for
lights
that.
on.
We had our own patrol cars for that.
I'm always really concerned whenever I see those guys in the Humvees, and they're like the guys that are sticking up out of the top. I'm like, somebody should put on their seatbelt.
So did you
Do they have seatbelts in there? And like in the top
Yeah,
part?
we have that's a harness that connects.
Oh, so even more than a seatbelt.
Would you like seatbelt tickets? Is it $25 over there too if you don't wear your seatbelt?
I never actually wrote many tickets as an MP. As a libertarian, I don't like traffic laws. So I would just, someone would be like, if someone was going fast, I'd pull them over, and I'd be like, you're going really fast. They're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, stop being stupid. And then I would, most of the time, unless they were just going ridiculously fast in like a residential area, I would let it go. But I never really cared. I was like, stop being stupid. I just want to just call it a day.
No, so during the Gary Johnson campaign, we constantly saw all of these different memes, all of these different videos and things from the campaign that was like 80% of active duty military that was polled voted for Gary Johnson in a mock election. Mm-hmm. Like, is that were those numbers true?
It's very accurate. In the military, it's very, because with Gary Johnson, he wants a more, if I might be mistaken, he wants a more nationalistic approach. He wants to pull troops out. The Army, at least the Army, we're pretty done with the whole Middle East conflict. We've lost way too many people over there.
Pretty done with being anywhere that's not named USA.
So the fact Gary Johnson, he didn't really. I'm trying to figure out. In my personal opinion, from me, I can't speak for the entire Army. Just with his approaches, we probably would have made more money, and without having to actually affect the DoD budget very much, because we'd be pulling people out of places we don't need to be in. And but for everybody else, everybody is pretty libertarian, at least in the MP Corps and infantry and combat.
Is like as far as foreign policy is concerned.
At least, at least with foreign policy, the Army, the military in general is very, very, very diverse. So you're going to have very right-leaning individuals, very left-leaning individuals, but everyone's pretty much in the middle. So you have some people who might be more centrist versus libertarian, but everyone has at least some libertarian mindsets for the most part.
It's actually kind of interesting whenever you think about it, because a lot of times people that travel around, like civilians that travel around, end up thinking more. I guess it would be like, what are we doing to help our nation, right?
Yeah. So
that's pretty much really interesting because everybody in the military is obviously traveling around
a lot.
So there's a direct correlation there between those two groups of people.
See, I went from it's a good point. I went from being in high school, I was very, very to myself, and then in the Army, I went to Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri for training, and then I went to South Korea, and then I went to Fort Bliss, which was in El Paso, Texas, which is a border town. So I've met all kinds of people, all kinds of backgrounds. So it's kind of made me think, like, okay, at the end of the day, and especially with other people, most people are like, okay, at the end of the day, is what I'm doing affecting somebody else? No. Okay.
Yeah.
How often do they play Marty Robbins music in El Paso?
El Paso, I can go on for a while. I'm not fond of El Paso. I didn't really go out very much. People can't drive over there.
And apparently they don't have good beer.
Yeah, they don't either. They like their Bud Lights, and there's nothing wrong with Bud Light, but yeah,
Hashtag death before domestic.
Yeah,
that's my new
imported
motto.
is the way to go. I'll do like microbreweries, but I'm not a huge fan of light beers.
Oh yeah, me either. I hate them. So if I have to drink like a regular domestic beer, it's probably going to be like a Miller High Life.
Me too.
Really?
I'd never drink a Bud Light Lime, just for the record. Ever.
I stay away from domestic beer. I can't really think of any I actually go to. Every time I'm like, do they have imported? And then it's...
Yeah. There's not any that I particularly care for. And we have, just as we learned on a previous episode of the Boss Hog of Liberty, we have President Jimmy Carter, to thank for the craft beer boom.
And
in the
his
industry.
brother Billy for Billy Beer.
For Billy Beer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Check your history books,
I'm glad you brought that up. So you're starting at Ball State.
I am, yes.
Sure.
What are you
going
to be studying?
Ball State professor and other Ball State students on this show.
Cool. That was the segue into that, Jeremiah. But thank you for skipping over that.
You're welcome.
What are you studying, Scott?
I'm going to be doing telecommunications.
Telecommunications.
I'm going to go into.
Do they make you go on campus for that, or can you phone it in?
I'm doing it. I'm doing it on campus. Good. That was good. I'll give you that.
I wish I had a soundboard that would go.
I want to do it like videography or filmmaking.
Oh, sweet.
And travel with that.
So he can make all of our advertisements, Jer.
Advertisements, yes.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Do you want to be our grip? I've heard we need a grip on this show.
I don't want to be licensed as that, but, I have a camera and a pretty good mic, so I can, if you want to do some running shots like that.
There we go.
I can do that.
Except not physically running. I don't do that.
I'm still not much of a runner yet. The latest report is I'm down about 49 pounds, but we're still not in running shape yet.
49 pounds.
Down Chase might actually run.
What?
Chase, you want to go for a run?
I can, dude. I got a bad heart.
We'll do the stupid Olympics. My morbid obesity versus your bad ticker. Let's see who makes it.
Telecommunications, that's where you move spoons with your mind, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You bend them. I think you're supposed to bend them.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like The Men Who Stare at Goats.
And
that is my favorite military movie of all time.
What was that?
The Men Who Stare at Goats.
I haven't watched that.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime.
How long are the flights over there? Like 14 hours, 18 hours?
To Korea?
Yeah.
It was an 11-hour flight.
And you didn't have time to watch The Men Who Stare at Goats?
It was all like crappy movies. Who's the actor that everybody craps on with crappy movies? The guy...
Dax Shepard.
The guy in Happy Gilmore. The main guy.
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. There's like 5 Adam Sandler movies. The one where he went to Africa, I watched like 3 times.
That makes sense because every Adam Sandler movie is great.
Yeah.
I love Adam Sandler.
Except for the one where he played his sister. That one sucked.
That was weird. Yeah. That was just awkward the entire time.
That's kind of like whenever Jack Black was in the movie Bernie. That was really weird. Whenever he's a mortician that kills that old lady and stuffs her in her freezer.
I have gone back and forth on buying a Jack Black movie for like a month.
Which
and I need to finally do it.
Like
Saving Silverman.
I love that one.
I want a copy. I haven't seen it in so long, and I'm literally waffling about like...
You can't stream it on?
I can, but I don't like to spend the money to stream a movie. It's not on any platform, so it's like $12 to buy on YouTube. And I'm like...
Yeah, you might as well just buy it.
I've been craving to watch that movie.
Have you ever seen Bernie?
No.
All right, you got to watch Bernie sometime.
I'm really not much of a Jack Black fan.
Oh,
Tropic Thunder.
School of Rock was classic.
Yeah. Are you happy with that Tropic Thunder?
It was a comedy, but it was funny.
I love Tropic Thunder. I love that movie.
It's
a good one.
One more Army question.
Okay.
Did any major politicians or celebrities ever stop in to visit you? USO tours, Bob Hope kind of things?
Unfortunately, no.
Vice President never showed up. Your congressman, none of that stuff. You never, like Jim Banks, he's a congressman who serves. He never showed.
If they did, I never really went.
You weren't in the cool spots.
Yeah, I was probably working most of the time, to be honest. I know Donald Trump, actually, President Trump came to South Korea, Camp Humphreys.
Yes, as we're recording this, President Trump is definitely still the president.
Yes, for sure.
And he actually came there in, I think, 2017, excuse me.
I remember 2017, yeah.
Yeah, that was, like a while ago.
Yeah.
So he was there.
There's
so I was
so much ambiguity in this episode now. I'm really enjoying this.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I think that was the closest one.
We only owed, back in 2017, we only owed $19 trillion as a company, as a country. Yeah, we're over 20 now.
Oh, that's
mostly defense
we're
spending.
almost able to legally drink as an entire nation.
Yep.
For our bar tab is almost able to drink now. $21 trillion gazillion dollars. Anyway, please continue. Trump.
Oh yeah,
2017.
I just saw the friend post and I was like, oh, that's neat. I probably wouldn't have gone to that, but that's cool.
Yeah. Do you guys have to go through security as military guys? Do you have to go through security?
It's streamlined. I remember when I was flying. You're supposed to fly out of Osan Air Force Base whenever you're leaving Korea. They didn't have enough tickets, so I left out of Incheon, which is the best airport I've ever been in.
Incheon?
Incheon, which is very close to Seoul.
Who's Sean?
Hilarious. Very funny. And I remember it was an 11-hour flight. We landed. It was very streamlined for military because you have your DOD card, so you kind of get ushered through. And I remember I was in San Francisco, and I got off an 11-hour flight. Terrible.
Being the Easterner that I am, I immediately think you've got to fly east every time. I'm like, oh yeah, every flight goes to Europe and beyond. You fly the other way.
Yeah, it's over the Pacific.
Yeah.
So I remember I landed in San Francisco, and I was in a terrible mood. I was tired. I was hungry.
You land, and everybody is fabulous.
And the thing that made me piss me off the most was everybody was wearing San Francisco shirts and sweaters. I'm like, I get it. Like, I know where I am. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to an airport food. I'm like, I just want some food. And on the flight to San Francisco, they gave you some food, and I actually had to hold my nose to eat it because it was so bad.
Oh, God. So
I landed. I got to the food court. I'm like, there has to be something that's at least semi-edible. I ordered my food. It's the same dish. I'm like, so
wait a minute. You just told us that the cuisine in South Korea was
it was airport food. I can't speak for airlines.
You couldn't find a Nathan's hot dog stand.
Unfortunately, I don't remember. I was angry in San Francisco. I hated everybody. Everybody was smiling, wearing those shirts. It's like, I know where I am. We know where you are. Take that. I mean, when I see everyone was wearing, I mean, everyone was wearing. I felt like I was in a cult. And I missed the memo.
What line for the Kool-Aid? That was good. Speaking of that, a couple weeks ago, our dear leader Chris Spangle went to Washington, D.C.
He did,
and you need to go back and listen to those episodes from when he was recording or covering the Washington, D.C. trip. He had the planes, trains, and automobiles trip.
Oh, yeah. I watched all of his live streams. They were quite entertaining.
Epic. So, yeah, a little plug for our syndicator, Chris Spangle. Go back and listen to those episodes of We're Libertarians. Incredible. Chase on the sports desk.
Breaking news! USF just beat Purdue.
No.
Yeah, sorry, Jeremiah.
Oh, my God. Purdue
92-69 on a buzzer beater.
Purdue lost the Big Ten championship.
It's getting crazy.
Purdue lost the Big Ten championship, and now they lost. Who'd they lose to? Central Florida?
No, USF.
University
of South Florida.
Oh,
or
man.
Southern Florida.
It's like the worst part.
Yeah. They had a great football team, though.
Is that the one that went undefeated this year?
They did.
They went, what was it, like 0-16?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
The year before last, and then they went undefeated last year.
Yep.
It's going to happen to the Browns.
Dakota, this is football, sports, and whatnot.
Well, I appreciate it.
I want to commend Dakota and his Bells Too Hard. Did you go to the factory and pick that up?
No, I didn't. This was a free gift.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this from our sponsor that benefits only
you?
No,
it's not a sponsorship. I just spent enough money on their website to get
it. This is Indiana, so you're not allowed to buy liquor on their website. What in the world are you buying on bellstoohearted.net?
I bought a couple other shirts.
He's just wearing their stuff now. He likes the clothes more than the beer.
I bought a sweatshirt, which I really like, and then I bought that sticker pack.
All right.
Chase, you gotta scoot back so that the people can see it.
Once again, this is a podcast, but if you're looking on the YouTube,
there it is.
There's the sticker pack.
Yep. See, that's a little plug for our YouTube channel.
There you go. Oh man!
All right, I think it's time to get into some serious stuff.
So a couple weeks ago,
some serious business. We spent an hour goofing around, and
you tried to get suicided by creating the biggest controversy in the history of this county.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Bomb.
On episode 46, 2 episodes ago, you teased that there would be a major story breaking in the Courier-Times.
I did.
And that County Councilman Clay Morgan, co-host, had asked some questions at the recent County Council meeting. And he said, where did all this money go? Because basically the County Sheriff's Department had been authorized for every... I don't know, MPs, you probably get all your uniforms for free.
MP, we get our vest for free, the belts and all that stuff, but for the Army, you have to buy your own uniforms. You get a clothing allowance, though. You do get a clothing allowance.
Yeah, see, our guys...
every year, though.
How much is your clothing allowance? Do you remember?
I forget the exact formula, so I honestly can't remember it. It depends on your rank and your time of service.
Okay, so your BMI, like fat guys, like this is the story of my life. 2X, 3X, and 4X shirts, they cost more. So I'm wondering if you're a bigger guy, if they get you a bigger clothing allowance, because it's usually like $3 more for a shirt.
The Army
just
you buy uniforms and this covers all uniforms. So it's not just your OCPs, your ACUs, your PTs. It also goes for your awards, your ASUs. The berets, the Army changes its uniform like every 5 years, so you got to keep up with that too. Your boots,
right? So
it doesn't cover everything, but it helps relieve the financial burden, I guess.
So our sheriff's department, for our deputies, everybody was treated the same. Socialist. Darren Jacobs must have some involvement in it.
It must be.
We barely got him worked into episode 47. I'm glad we got him in episode 48.
I am too.
Anyway, they were at $600 a year. Was your your uniform allotment. The county council in 2017, I remember 2017, it was way back then. 2017, they voted to increase the 2018 allotment to $1,000 a person. Dakota, what happened?
So like you said, in 2017, for the 2017 budget, They voted to increase the clothing allowance from $600 to $1,000 per deputy, and they also voted to increase the vehicle budget by $15,000. And if you guys have been following anything that had to do with the budget, I think Councilman Clay Morgan actually put out some videos last year during the process where he talked about and kind of slammed about all of the different rises. After they passed the budget, the auditor came back and they came back with the suggestion that we had to cut $700,000 from the Henry County budget, the general fund budget,
because the State Board of Accounts said they had to cut that.
Well, actually, this comes from an estimate first.
Okay.
The auditor makes an estimate before it is sent off to the State Board of Accounts, and they have a little bit of communication there, but it is all an estimate at first, but it's a very well educated guess. And so they said, hey, guys, we got to cut $700,000. They had a separate meeting on October 2nd. I looked at the minutes from the October 2nd meeting. There was like 2 paragraphs where it said that they just declined to giving everybody in the county a $1,000 raise, and that was about it. And that does not count for $700,000 of cuts. That doesn't make any sense at all. But that's not part of this process. But Clay ended up hearing from some of the sheriff's deputies that they didn't have the $400 extra in their clothing allowance, and they didn't have the $15,000 that they were promised for their vehicles, which was quite concerning because the only people that can actually alter the budget in the county government is the county council. That is why the county council is there, is to kind of be the checks and balances of the entire system.
The county council is the financial arm, and the county commissioners are the executive branch, basically, of county government.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all the other people are administrators.
Yes. So the council forms the budget, then the auditor either approves it or they send it back. And then this year, the auditor cut the $700,000, and then after the October 2nd meeting, it was submitted to the state. And the council has to approve moving any kind of money. It cannot be sent to the state without the council voting on it. So whenever we say that there was money that is missing, it's a lot bigger deal than what you think it is, because that means that something happened where people didn't follow the proper channels that are there to keep our government in check, to keep people from doing things like laundering money.
So you took a day off work?
I did. I had, yeah.
You took a day off
Friday off work. I put my investigative journalist hat on.
Press Dog Dakota.
Correct. And
you brought your tablet.
Well, my tablet.
Your notepad. Your secret diary.
So I titled this in my secret diary. It is called Lost Money, because that's what we're dealing with here. We have no idea where the money went. So the first thing I did was I started making phone calls. I called the auditor's office. Well, it turns out that the auditor's on vacation this week.
Her assistant was on vacation. The auditor was there.
That's very convenient.
Her person that does a lot of the legwork, and the auditors are.
They're both on vacation. Both one of them, yeah. The actual auditor didn't leave for vacation until Friday. The auditor's assistant was on vacation before that.
Was on the case, and she went on vacation.
So the auditor was actually at the county council meeting and could have answered any of the questions that Councilman Morgan actually brought up, but didn't. Nobody had the answers. Not even any of the council members had any answers as to what happened. But anyway, back to the mainline story. I called the auditor's office. Nobody is there to talk to me. I can't figure out why. They basically told me, we can't tell you anything. Please leave us alone. I made a couple other phone calls.
Stop bothering me.
Yeah. I made a couple other phone calls with people, which I should have just called as a concerned citizen.
Right.
Instead, I said, I'm Dakota Davis with Boss Hog of Liberty podcast.
Uh-oh.
And so I'm calling as media, and you brought this point up. I'm calling as media, which makes people nervous. So I was like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere with this. And all I know now is what Travis knows. And then it hit me. I go to the man with the source of the story. So I drove to the MVP barbershop to visit our friend Clay Morgan. There are 3 people waiting in the chairs to get their haircuts, but this couldn't wait. This is a county-wide emergency.
So you interviewed Clay.
I did.
Did you have your handy-dandy notebook?
I did, and I wrote down everything that he said in a notebook. So this is
he said, Dakota, wait in line. It will be $8.
Yeah, well, I ended up waiting there for about I waited for about 30 minutes, and then it finally cleared up. I didn't really want to cut in line for people. That would be rude. So he finally cleared out, and I finally got the chance to talk to him. So he said that if the council did not approve the cutting of the money, and the sheriff has to ask for the money, the sheriff would have to ask for additional appropriations, which was Commissioner Kim Cronk's original recommendation.
If you're spending your regular money that's in your budget, you just spend it, and you don't have to go asking. But if you're asking for extra money, you have to go ask the council to move money around for you.
Exactly. So
that's the way this typically works.
Yeah, that's what Kim Kronk was saying in the Wednesday meeting. Was the sheriff just needs to ask for additional appropriations. Clay said, I recall that the council actually made these leaps in the budget during the session. They shouldn't have to ask for additional appropriations. Like that's not how this process works. And he said that if he asked to ask the sheriff himself, if he has to ask for that money, then it is proof that someone has meddled with the money.
So you tried to do you speak with, or you did speak with Sheriff Rick McCorkle as well?
Not really. No.
Or you reached out to his office?
Yeah, it was. There's no. I mean, Rick McCorkle's a good dude, but
we judged a chili contest with him. He's a friend of the show.
He doesn't want to get involved in these types of things. He's really just more worried about getting the things for his deputies, which is a position that you can respect. He wants to work with anybody who will move this process along. But there's a whole separate issue of insurance in here, and $97,000 that wasn't in there, and it started spiraling out of control. The more that I started learning about this,
very complicated very quickly, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh!
You get on the rabbit hole.
I called one person who I'm not going to name.
Ooh, an unnamed source.
Yeah, this is an unnamed source, and this is more of a conspiracy theory source that was kind of trying to draw lines between the missing money and the $97,000 that had to come up to be funded. But I'm not going to endorse that idea at all because I don't think that's really right. Because at the end of the day, I ended up getting a return phone call from Mr. Kim Kronk, the commissioner. And Mr. Kim Kronk's side of the story, which I'm going to give you both sides here, and you can make up the decision for yourself.
We are Libertarians, Boss Hog of Liberty, fair and balanced. We report, you decide.
Exactly. So we already know one side of the story. the side of the story that we have heard at the beginning is that there was a horrible clerical error, and that somebody either didn't submit or intentionally moved the money out of what the sheriff's clothing allowance and their vehicle allowance. That is one side of the story. The other side of the story is that what actually happened on the October 2nd, 2017 meeting is that is when the county councilors were supposed to vote on the LOA budget. So, this is when I learned that there are actually two budgets that the county councilors have to come up with.
You've got a general fund budget and a LOIT budget.
Correct.
LOIT is the local option income tax, which is used for public safety.
Right.
0.25% added tax that I spoke against at the public meeting, by the way, but Clay and all of the other county commissioners, councilmen.
That's true.
And, yep, they all voted for it. They raised your taxes, everybody.
Yep.
Just
but
saying.
So that's when I learned, I didn't know that before, that they had to create separate budgets.
This is my microphone.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing a separate interview.
And I didn't know they had to create separate budgets, but after I talked to Kim Kronk, I did know that. And he said that on the October 2nd meeting, what the council voted to do was take out all of that money and put it into the LOA budget. So instead of it being in the general fund, the council votes to put it into the LOA budget so that they can come up with the $700,000 that they had to cut.
So they shifted money out of the general fund and they moved it into public safety
money. And they
money.
moved it into the public safety money because it was dealing with the sheriff's department.
So I've been told that you can request as a, all the information down there is public information.
Correct.
The LOIT budget's been around, the LOIT spending's been around for like 2 years. You could, as citizen Dakota Davis of Henry County, request all of the transactions out of the LOIT budget and try to figure out where it's actually going.
What I was told is that there is $35,000 sitting in the LOIT budget that is directly supposed to replace all the money for the uniforms and for the vehicle, and that source is Mr. Kim Kronk. Like I said, you can make up your mind, decide what you want to, but those are the two sides of the story, and those are, very conflicting sides of each story. But he told me that the minutes would be in the October 2nd, 2017 meeting. I looked up the minutes, they weren't in there. So that's all.
Did you look on both sides of the paper, front and back?
Oh, it was a digital copy.
Oh.
And I did it from home on my laptop because this is the 21st century.
Maybe they only scanned one side and the part you needed was on the other side.
That's probably it. I didn't even think of that.
There's two budgets. Are there two sets of minutes?
But seriously, this doesn't even really have to do with where the money went, but 2 paragraphs for cutting $700,000? Why isn't it all in there? That doesn't make any sense. I have no idea. That is probably the most irritating thing that came out of all of it.
So you put your reporter hat on. What was it? Yep. What was it like trying to go to the county courthouse and get answers?
It was interesting. You go there and you see everybody walking around, and then you get really nervous. I got really nervous, so I walked in and I said hi. I pretty much said hi and bye after I was told that nobody was in that I could talk to in the auditor's office, and that was about it. I was very nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was nerve-wracking. I'm like, oh man, what if they require a permit for journalists? Like Jim Lucas was saying. What if that's a Henry County law now?
Just whip out our little magnet.
Well, see, I have business cards
you
now.
get business cards.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm much more professional.
Those don't have your face on them like the
I just dropped
do.
50 of them off at the barbershop, too.
Really?
So anybody can try to get a hold of me. My phone number's on there.
They're all just Dakotas. They're not the Jeremiah Morrell ones?
No.
Interesting.
Because I only carry mine in my wallet.
Interesting.
It's not a very good team player.
No.
Nope.
Apparently not. All right. Well, thank you for doing that, Dakota.
It was really interesting.
The exciting part of this show.
2 weeks ago.
Endless opportunities and what you can do.
Yeah.
So we've got some local elections coming up, Mr. Chairman. This weekend, Sunday, March 18th, Area LP Convention. Final chance for people to buy tickets. Get your tickets.
You
a couple
have to
left.
gift the tickets.
You must prepay.
It's the final countdown.
Mark Rutherford will be there. You've heard him on the show.
He will be there. He'll be really good.
I hear that there's going to be some major announcements for some people running for local office. Plausibly Jeremiah Morrell, County Council District 1.
That's what I heard too.
There's no official announcement, but if you pay the $22 for the ticket, you might find out. You might see some breaking news. Just saying.
All right. Am I going to have to put on my journalist hat for that one too?
No, the Courier Times says they're coming. So you can read about it in the county paper of record. So nobody's filed yet. We don't have any libertarians that have filed on the ballot.
Nope.
Because that happens at the convention.
Correct.
And then more people can go on between that date, between the March 18th date and June 30th. So if somebody's listening and is very inspired about libertarianism and wants to get on the ballot and isn't happy with their choices on the Republican side and the Democrat side, all they have to do is call Dakota when he's not wearing his reporter hat, and he can be wearing his county chairman hat.
Yep.
And we can vet you and have some conversations about maybe running for office.
Yep. It's too bad Scott doesn't live in Henry County. We could
like right there.
So close.
A Munciite. Well, there's a strong Delaware County group growing as well. We're going to have to plug him in and get him to meet some of those people. Mm-hmm. So no libertarians have filed yet. But I think you're going to see 3, 4, 5, maybe more local candidates, people on your ballot from Henry County or on the Henry County ballots.
I think this is going to be a strong year for libertarians.
So there's some opportunities. We've kind of covered it a little bit in the past. There are a number of races that we're covering on this show with our reporter hats. And we've got some kind of a series between next week's show on the 22nd of March. We're going to be interviewing Susan Hoon, running for county council. You heard from Nate Lamar already. He's the incumbent in county council district. I think that's either District 3 or District 4. I think it's District 4.
I thought it was 3.
One of those.
Yeah.
It's the eastern half of Henry County. So Nate has it now, and the primary challenger is Susan Hoon. So Susan's going to come on March 22nd. The following week, former sheriff, current county commissioner, Butch Baker will be on. So Butch is the guy running. He lives in the northern part of the county, and the entire county runs votes, but you have to live in a certain district. So it's basically in thirds. So Butch lives in the northern part. There's a guy named Ed Tarantino who's running that race. We're going to try to have Ed on as well.
I actually saw Butch at the courthouse whenever I was there. I don't think he recognized me.
Did you try to shake him down for answers?
No. He was. I heard about what Butch had to say from another source, and I already knew what he was going to tell me.
Gotcha. So we're going to have Butch on. That's going to be fun. And I think Butch was a beat cop. He started out as a city cop for Newcastle.
Yeah.
So we're going to get some stories out of Butch too. We're going to have some fun.
It'll be good.
See what comes out of that.
I hope
and
he's got stories like
sharing.
Mike Kreider. That was a good episode with good
I'm looking
cop
forward
stories.
to it.
I think we should have him taser one of you guys.
Ooh, you know
Taser's
what?
not too bad.
We will have we'll have Chase tased for the show.
I got a bad heart. That could really.
Oh yeah, that's really true.
You know.
Scott will come back and get
Maybe.
tased.
Oh,
He's done it before.
Scott's been through it once before.
You know, I get tased again. I want to get OC'd again.
Wait. The guy collects a military disability check. Are you really saying you want to?
Yeah. Actually, I for those who don't know, I have a brain injury. I got a traumatic injury last year because I fell. And
bad bar fight you were breaking up?
We're going to go with that. We're not going to tell the true story right now, but yeah, I fell. So.
It was scary. I was watching it from the sidelines on Facebook.
I was pretty close. I had a blood clot on my the right side of my brain that was right there.
There was a lot of people really concerned that you weren't going to pull through.
I almost didn't, but I did. The world didn't get rid of me that easily. So.
And your hair's all grown back, covers up any scars you have.
It's right. It's right here, but you can't see it because I have a beanie and a.
You're not like Cousin Eddie with got a piece of government plastic right there, and if this gets messed up, my hair's just not going to look right.
Yeah, I posted a picture. I don't know if you saw it, Dakota. I posted a picture I think whenever the 26th was.
Of the scar?
Oh, the scar.
Yeah.
So that was nasty.
Yeah, that was
Those were good days.
Woo.
Yeah, so we're not going to tase Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just decided that.
We're also not going to OC me. Not doing that again. I got my shirt at home. I can pull it out.
I think it's up to the two of us, Jer.
No, we've got a lot of co-hosts.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, that's true. Cade and Danny.
Cade and Danny. We're gonna put them in the octagon.
We're outsourcing our work.
Who's getting it done. And then April 5th, we're gonna have Betsy Mills on. Betsy's a newcomer to the county political world. She's a Ball State graduate, and I met her at that most recent county commissioners meeting that I attended.
Okay.
So exciting to have her. She's friends with Chloe Anagnos. Went to Ball State with her in that circle. So we had Kat on the show. Chloe's been a longtime contributor of We Are Libertarians. So excited to hear from Betsy as well. Get to know her a little bit.
Awesome. So
we got all kinds, and then beyond that, we're still planning. But as people are watching this, listening to this, send us a DM. Jeremiah at bosshogliberty.com, Dakota at bosshogliberty.com, Chase at bosshogliberty.com. Send us an email. Tell us what you want to hear. The issues you want us to talk about. It's a crowdsourced show, so hit us up. Let us know what issues you want to talk about, and we're going to get into wind. Don't worry about that. We're going to talk about wind with all of them. But there are a whole lot more issues than just wind and doughboys and the like. There's a lot to talk about.
Chase, do you want to move the doughboy?
Okay, I was going to get into this in my final thoughts like I usually do.
Well,
all I'm asking
are we moved on to that point yet? I want to give you some time.
No, I think we're fine.
Okay,
we can do final thoughts. We'll start with Chase's final thoughts.
I want to hear about the doughboy.
Okay, I have a few things. Okay. First off, I want to say all I'm asking for is a free T-shirt and a wristband that says "Save the Doughboy." I will rep it for you guys.
It's not like Save the Clock Tower, right? I mean, there's a movie made back in the 80s.
He's old.
We just had to clarify that.
There's a movie made
back in the
80s.
Day, 2017.
Way back in the 80s. Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Oh, yes.
It was Save the Clock Tower. The clock was broken, 1955, all this stuff. So that was the Save the Doughboy, Save the Clock Tower. It's the same deal. But they were going to tear down the clock tower, and they saved it. Anyway.
So all I'm saying is,
it's not quite the Doughboy's still going to exist.
When
it's
I
just
become park president, do you want a person who's going to want to put the Doughboy back in the original spot, or do you want a person who's going to move it? Because I've had people tell me they will buy me a shirt that says "Move the Doughboy." So it's up to you guys. Which one do you want me to support?
Basically, whichever shirt you get first is the position you're going to hold?
Yes.
See, Chase, you were going to be such a good political candidate because you completely danced around an answer, but you gave something that was like, oh, okay. Like, it was like, oh, all right, I'll accept that answer. And then you think about it later and you go,
I don't know what Chase said.
He was like, that answered nothing.
Next, I want to say congrats to Newcastle for winning sectionals.
Yes.
And
they did win the sectional.
Breaking news, they also won state.
Already?
I
thought the state was in a week or two. Of course, they had the big win there in regionals.
Yeah, regionals.
Yeah, at Marion.
I saw into the future. They won state. 73-69.
Ooh.
On a buzzer beater.
Buzzer beater with a foul there.
Yes. I'm
Mason Gillis with a 3-point play plus the free throw to give them the 4-point win.
Killed it.
I'm glad you brought up the truth because that is my final thoughts.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was a good
transition.
Well, no, it was a good, really, really good segue. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So
we are so out of sorts. Our actual guest over here hasn't done his final thoughts
yet.
We're
moving on.
What is my final
Scott
thoughts?
is going to take over the very last final thoughts.
I don't think so.
He's gonna close the episode.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I've also been brainstorming over here, okay?
Oh, good.
Oh, gosh.
And about the Boss Hog of Liberty movie, what if we just take little segments from Archer and just replace the names?
Yes. That would be great. I love that show.
Boom.
All right.
Take that show off Netflix.
They are?
Yeah, it's up until the March 14th.
Oh, no.
It hurt my heart.
Oh, wait. Yeah, because they're a Fox program.
Yeah, so up until tomorrow, actually, it's taking it down.
Here's some other news on the Boss Hog of Liberty. Netflix forgot to renew its contract with Fox. So every single program and every single TV show that you ever liked that was on Fox,
which is most of them.
Yeah. Not Arrested Development. Please, God, tell me Arrested Development didn't go away.
Arrested Development is made by Netflix now.
Right. So that was a Fox show originally.
It's safe. They bought the rights to it.
Please tell me it didn't go away, because I would
American
burn the
Dad's
city to the ground.
American Dad, Family Guy, Archer. I mean, all the greats.
These are the real issues.
Yeah, they are. It's horrifying. Debauchery is what it is.
That's all you got.
Well, that was only on Netflix. but I do want to say in my final thoughts that I really appreciate everybody that watches this show to make me motivated enough to actually drive around town on a Friday, make a bunch of phone calls and trying to pursue things that I read in the local newspaper. It's really cool. I heard a quote by Owen Benjamin the other day where he said that if you pursue the truth enough, then eventually you will see the future. That's awesome. That was a really cool quote, and I kept thinking about that all day on Friday whenever I was like, every time that I would hit a brick wall and I couldn't hear any types of facts and everything was just assumptions. I kept thinking about that, and it was really neat. It was a cool experience again. Another cool experience that was brought to me by this show, and I appreciate everybody for watching to make me motivated enough to do that.
And remember, as George Costanza says, it's not a lie if you believe it. All right. So, is that it?
Yep, that's my final thoughts. Are we going to do yours?
How do people follow you, Dakota?
Everybody I think that wants to follow me is following me now.
At this point, we just know who you are. Chase, of course, you've created the Boss Hog of Liberty Twitter page.
Yes, follow me there.
Follow you there. And then Chase Peyton on the Twitter.
Yeah.
On the tweeter box.
Yeah, don't follow me. I never post anything.
You only post on the Boss Hog page, right?
I like a bunch of stuff on Twitter. So you'll see that. But.
Yeah, sometimes you like art. Basically, when I post something on behalf of the show, you like it, and you're like one of my likes I get each time.
That's about it. I just stalk people.
All right, so
it's because you haven't. Well, you're not going to have to do that anymore, Jerry, because now Chase has created the Boss Hog of Liberty account.
Exactly, and I'm very excited that we have that.
Totally,
now. Yeah. Final thoughts from me. It's been a relatively quiet week as far as what I feel like we have to get into. But you guys were talking about your TV shows you're watching, what you're binging. I found a new show. And I don't watch many shows on TV. Like The Middle is ending. Parks and Rec's gone off for a while. I enjoy
Mary Aubrey Plaza.
That's my
favorite touch. Her eyes are
yes.
So
I'm the same way.
So
she's gorgeous.
Parks and Rec is gone. The Office is gone. My favorite shows, like
they're bringing back The Office.
Well, yeah, but it won't be the same.
Yeah, it won't.
But so Adam Scott, who played Ben Wyatt on Parks and Rec, and then Daryl from The Office, Craig Robinson. They've got a show on Fox called Ghosted.
Well, it's not going to be on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So it's kind of like Men in Black. Where they're, going out. And I'm not into sci-fi crap at all. That is not my thing, Chase.
Really?
That's not my deal at all, yeah. But it's like Men in Black.
They're both solid actors, too. So that'd be
and they've got, they pretty much play the same character you expect them to play. Craig Robinson, we talked on episode 46 about how Jason Thompson is the world's worst when it comes to food and being just a pain in the butt for stuff. That's Craig Robinson's character. He's basically Jason Thompson.
Oh, great, yeah.
And then Adam Scott plays the same Ben Wyatt character as he always does, so...
Very interesting.
Kind of nerdy.
Totally nerdy. Got this thing for Batman, apparently. There's a little Batman
he
episode.
did that in Parks and Rec. He had the part where he
I am Batman.
the trigger self. Yeah, he started crying.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, my bride-to-be, Sarah Potter, the lovely Sarah Potter, and I binge-watched Ghosted a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And definitely give it a
10
thumbs
out of
up.
10?
10 out of 10, worth your time. We're just running out of shows to watch.
Is it,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is good, and then Ghost.
What
See, I've been
platform is it
thinking
on?
about getting into that.
It's on Fox. So the main Fox. But
so you're not going to be able to watch it on Netflix.
I have it on YouTube TV. I subscribe to YouTube TV, and you can get, if you hit the season pass or whatever, it's on there. So I'm sure if you have any sort of DVR system, you should be able to go back and watch the recent episodes. It's the first year. There's like 8 episodes in. And the guy that played Toby, who ran The Office, Paul Lieberstein or whatever, he had it. Yep. So final thoughts. Those are my final thoughts. You can follow me at Jeremiah Morrell. Scotty.
Yes.
This is Scott.
No,
that's my final thoughts.
Scotty. That's how we do it.
Okay.
Do you have any final thoughts for the show?
Yeah, I want to thank again for...
We've got the iconic K-pop songs from Dakota.
Thank you again for inviting me. So, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do for my final thoughts.
Did we leave anything out?
I don't think
any
so.
Stories? Did you?
Hopefully, we can sign a petition to get.
Were you in South Korea when the North Korea movie came out? When that whole controversy happened?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. That was like the year we graduated high school.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You're so old.
That is a recent movie in my life. Really? That is not possible.
What was it called? The Interview or something?
Yeah, The Interview.
Yeah,
Okay.
The Interview. That was
Jeremiah. If it makes you feel better, I was in college during that time.
I was in college. The most recent year I was in college was 2008. Dakota would have been 12. Scott would have been 13. Chase, 2014,
the year that I graduated high school.
That was a good movie.
Yep.
He
was not over there.
No, I was not. I went there in 2015.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I don't really know what to do for my closing thoughts. Hopefully, we can sign a petition to get Fox News back. Not Fox News. Fox
back on the Netflix.
On the Netflix. That's about the only issue I'm really passionate about.
that's your driving force.
And
you don't care about the election.
Hopefully, Aubrey Plaza listens to this, doesn't she?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
she does.
If you need to, you can add me on Facebook.
So you're tagged in the episode. Do you do the Twitter, Instagram?
I do. I have
Snapchat.
I have, Instagram.
Yeah. What's your Instagram?
Scott Fleener, 95.
Is it like a lot of lifting and stuff?
It's not.
Beach pictures. What are you doing on the Instagram?
I don't really post to Instagram
Pets.
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just follow. You just like it for creeping.
Yeah. I just I post stuff whenever I think to post stuff. I haven't had Twitter in I don't know how long, and then Snapchat after the update. I just kind of pay attention to it.
Well, I'm glad last week they fixed that update, Chase, and now we got the old Instagram back.
Yes,
for sure.
Very
I don't have
excited about
Instagram, but I knew that.
I think we were talking about Snapchat, actually.
Yeah, Snapchat.
Yeah, I do love Snapchat. Snapchat? Snapface?
Yeah,
Snapface.
That's the one.
That's what they changed it to.
So it's no secret I love the Craig Ferguson show. Always have.
Mm-hmm.
And this has felt a lot like one of those shows where they were the Friday show. They kind of double up Thursday to Friday.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we recorded this one early and punted.
We didn't.
But because that's not what happened.
You've been punked!
But this has really felt like a Craig Ferguson show where you just, you talk about that amazing thing that happened yesterday. Definitely happened.
And if you haven't joined the Boss Hog of Liberty Inner Circle group, then we got ratted out by my neighbor.
You did. Zach Burcham, somewhere north of Q Avenue.
Yep.
He said, something is happening at the studio. Not sure what. Maybe planning.
Yep.
I told him.
That's what we're doing. We're planning.
We are using the time machine.
Yep. We're using the time machine.
We have... there was this movie back in the 80s called Back to the Future. They had
I know what the Back to the Future
DeLorean
is.
had to go 88 miles an hour. We've got a time machine at the Boss Hog Liberty Studios.
Yeah.
I was
We've been
thinking
time and space.
of Hot Tub Time Machine back in the day.
Another Craig Robinson movie with Chevy Chase.
I've never seen Hot Tub Time Machine.
I haven't either.
It's got
kind of looked
some
dumb.
sort of a hot.
I never really liked that cast of actors. Just seemed like the whole I feel like I need to be drunk to actually appreciate the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, drunk. You need to be drunk. Not anything else. Chase, any more scores? Or
This is the last one, Jeremiah. Last game of the night. Breaking news. Indiana just beat Kentucky 100-6.
Oh, my gosh.
Was it a buzzer beater?
In the NIT?
It was insane! A buzzer beater for the century!
IU got in the NIT and beat Kentucky, who was in the NCAA tournament. It's a miracle.
It's crazy, man. I don't know how it happened.
Man.
Next week, everybody, Susan Hoon. On a week from that, we're going to have Butch Baker and then Betsy Mills. All the political shows. Enjoy.
Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at We'reLibertarians.com.